So, what happens when you combine insects, vampirism, and an ill considered desire to get more protein into your crepes? Well, stick around and find out on this express episode of Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat. Hello, I am Steve the Cat, host of Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, your place for a fun review of horror movies. We're still on summer vacation, but I wanted to check in for a minute and talk about Netflix's new creature feature, The Swarm. So, bottom line up front, it's a pretty good movie. It's not an outstanding movie, but it is not a bad movie. A few things to know about this. Number one, it is French, so your options are to watch it with subtitles or watch the English dubbed version. Or I suppose you could watch the English dubbed version and the subtitles, which is what I did. So it is a pretty good movie. It is not a high budget movie, but it is a pretty good movie. It is based more upon suspense and tension than gore. It's not a creature feature in the same vein as, say, John Carpenter's The Thing, but it is a pretty good movie. So let's get to a summary of what the film's about. So The Swarm takes place on a small rural farm in France. Not an affluent farm, a very small farm run by a still reasonably young widow, her teenage daughter, and her pre-teenage son. Now, it is located in some rustic countryside alongside other farms, say a farmer who raises chickens and another farmer who grows grapes and has his own vineyard. But the particular farm we're interested in for this film does not raise chickens, does not grow grapes. She raises locusts. Yes, locusts. Great big grasshoppery things. She raises locusts. And then grinds them into meal to use as flour. Why in the world would you want to make flour out of locusts? Well, according to the lady that runs the farm, 100 grams of ground up locust has more protein than 150 grams of meat. I cannot speak to the scientific accuracy of that. I'm just telling you what they said in the film. Unfortunately, her yields are not so great. The locusts are not breeding at the rate she needs them to, and she is unable to make ends meet. Until one day, through a chain of events and an accident, she makes an interesting discovery. The locusts like the taste of human blood, and having consumed blood, they then breed like crazy. Well, what could possibly go wrong teaching a school of locusts to eat human blood or human flesh? Well, lots of things could possibly go wrong, and yet these do not occur to her as she sets off on a course of raising these locusts on a increasingly horrific diet of blood. And it unfolds as you would expect it to unfold. Things escalate and escalate farther until the final conclusion where the swarms escape from the greenhouse. So let's talk about the things to like about this film. Number one, good production values. This is a small budget movie, but it does not feel like a cheap movie. It looks good on screen, the cinematography is good, the acting is good. Number two, the characters have depth and are likable. You do not have a bunch of one-dimensional cardboard cutout characters like you would have in so many horror movies. You have the mother who is dedicated to making this farm work out of loyalty to her husband who has passed away. You have the conflict with the teenage daughter who would rather just pack up and leave and go somewhere else because she is tired of living on a sustainable farm with unreliable hot water coming from solar panels and unreliable electricity and kids at school making fun of her because her mother farms locusts. You have the son whose best friend is his pet goat, which appears to be a throwback to the fact that when his father was still alive, his father raised goats. So you have well-developed, likable characters. You have the neighbor who runs the vineyard, who is a farmer who obviously has feelings for the widow and would like to, say, commingle their crops, and so on and so on. So it's not a bunch of one-dimensional characters. It is an actual movie with real characters. Number three, the film does not rely on gore and shock. It uses tension and suspense, but to the extent that you do have special effects in the film, the special effects are very, very good. They are practical special effects and they look very realistic, and they're doubly effective because not only are you seeing, say, an animal that has been eaten by locusts, you are seeing an animal that has been eaten by locusts with locusts still crawling on the carcass, and if you have issues with insects, and so many of us do, it's just going to set your skin tingling a little bit. So those are the things I liked about this film. Those are the things I liked about the film. Now let's talk about a few of the things that I thought could have been better. Number one, the pacing is a bit too slow. It's a creature feature. It's not the most innovative creature feature in the world. You kind of know where it's going to end up, and you're kind of just waiting for the film to get there. It is a bit like being stuck behind a car in the left lane who's driving just a little bit too slow, and you're just kind of trying to tap your foot and say, come on, get to the point, get to the point. It just doesn't unravel itself as quickly as it feels like it should. Number two, as the film goes on and the mother becomes more and more desperate to make her venture with farming of locusts work, she gets more and more desperate. She gets farther and farther off the rails. And depending upon who you are and what you like to watch in films, you might find it hard to watch. It becomes not nearly on the same scale, but kind of the same idea as Joker, as you're watching somebody just kind of come unraveled a little bit. And you might find that hard to watch. Number three, the climax is not nearly as exciting as you would think. Again, it's a creature feature. You kind of know what's coming. It's not the most innovative story in the world. You have locusts that have a taste for flesh and blood, and obviously you know are going to escape at some point. And when they finally do, it's not as big a climax as you would think it's going to be. In part, I think that's just driven by budget, but there were one or two characters in the film who just kind of evaporated that you thought were going to come back around at the end, and they don't. So it just feels like a little bit of a letdown at the end, and frankly, the end of the movie, it just seems to kind of just end, and it seems like, okay, there needs to be a little more resolution to this, and they just kind of ended the film 5 minutes too soon. But overall, a good movie, not a great movie. Those are some of the things that I thought could have been done better. So, in summary, Netflix's new creature feature, The Swarm, is a good, not great movie. What it has going for it is good production values, good acting, good tension, and suspense. What it has going against it is it's a bit slow, and it's a bit predictable, and the ending is a bit underwhelming. So it kind of depends upon what you expect going into this film. This is not the film you want to watch if you're having 8 friends over and you want to watch an adrenaline movie over some pizza. It's the kind of movie you want to watch when you're in the mood for something a little slower, something that takes a little more time to cook and is more tension and suspense and less thrills and chills. But overall, if you're in the mood for something that is based on tension and suspense, I would recommend this movie. Like I said, it's a good movie. It is not the greatest movie you've ever seen, but it is not a bad film. So I would cautiously recommend this one. I would give it between 2.5 and 3 paws out of 4. So cautiously recommend The Swarm from Netflix. Well, that wraps up this express episode of Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat as we review Netflix's new creature feature, The Swarm. I am your host, Steve the Cat. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy the show, please take a moment to give us a like and a share and maybe even subscribe on social media, because keep in mind, those likes and shares and subscribes are the equivalent of currency on social media, and you have an infinite amount of it, so we appreciate the likes and the shares. Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat is your home for fun horror movie reviews. Whether you're a veteran fan of horror movies or new to the genre, we're sure to help you find some interesting stuff to watch on streaming services and have some fun along the way. Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat is available exclusively on PBDC TV. PBDC TV is easy to find. We're available on the World Wide Web at pbdctv.com and on YouTube at Psycho Bunny DC. We also have a large presence on Facebook. You can go to the page for the mothership at PBDC TV, or you can go to dedicated pages for channels such as Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psychomandium 13, Roots Bleed Red, and Cemetery Kids Fright Theater. No matter which way you come at it, we're sure to have something for you. Also, remember that you can follow Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat on Facebook at Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and that's Tales with an A-I-L-S. So please, if you like the show, give us a like and subscribe so you stay in the loop. We have new episodes coming in September. We're hard at work on Season 2 episodes right now. We're looking forward to seeing you again shortly. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
Oh, hi! First thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.